Hey everybody, we're back. Day 4. We made it. Day 4. I know that every day I've been telling you what number each day means. So today, day 4 means foundations. So when we talk about 4 is about foundational awareness, how to be in our bodies. We're showing up a little bit more confident because everything that, all of our fears and all of the stuff that kind of worked out of us as we've been doing these videos is kind of coming to a culmination where we feel like a little bit more foundationally sound, right? So welcome to day 4. Welcome as you join. We are here to connect back to safety in our own bodies and responsibility and ownership for what we've created in our lives, and taking it one step by one step into the future so that we can feel comfortable, safe, and aware and open and in a process of discovery, okay? So this mini course is a process of discovery. Like, what's going on? What have I been doing? How have I been showing up? So it's very powerful. I just want to acknowledge all you guys for how you're showing up in the groups, how you're showing up in your homework, how you're showing up in your messages to me, your messages to Scott. It's just so amazing. It's so powerful. It's so exciting. So every time I feel nervousness in my body about something that's going on in my life or whatever, I stop myself and I say, I'm so excited. What I really want to say is, I'm so nervous, I feel like I'm going to puke, I don't know what to do, but instead I say, I'm so excited, because if I take the energy of nervousness or anxiety, which is really, okay, this is something that just came up for me. Hi everyone entering the group, welcome. So something that just came up for me is a quote I heard from somebody, which is, anxiety is excitement without breath. I think that's right. Yes. Anxiety is excitement without breath. Write that down. Actually, write it in the chat. Write it in the chat so that people that are coming in can hear you and can catch up. When they catch up later, they'll see that's what we're talking about. So anxiety is excitement without breath. So you can take the energy of excitement and turn it, or the energy of anxiety and turn it into excitement, okay? Because you get to choose. You get to wake up every day and say, I'm choosing what to do with this energy. And right now, the energy of fear and stress does not serve me. So I'm gonna turn it into excitement, okay? Hi, welcome everybody. So glad I'm seeing everyone come in. Hello, hello, welcome back. I love you guys. Lisa says, anxiety is excitement without breath. Yes, yes, yes. Say it, own it, say it over and over again. And know that when we're in our bodies and when we're really listening and when we're able to be in awareness around things, we can say, okay, yes, I'm in a state of anxiety right now, and I can give it some breath, and all of a sudden it can turn into excitement, right? So thank you all for, oh my gosh, you're all saying it in the chat. I love you guys so much. Okay, so I want to take a second to acknowledge Scott Engler, because he has been here with us in every chat. He's here now, supporting us in the comments, supporting everyone really in all the comments of all the threads I've been posting. So just let's take a second to say thank you, Scott. Thank you for showing up so boldly, so powerfully to support us in this 5-day training as we move toward our full, whole self in this process of discovery, love, support. So thank you so much for how you show up for me. Thank you so much for how you show up in your own life. And thank you so much for how you show up in the lives of everyone in this chat today and everyone in the group. It's really inspiring, and it really supports me and everyone else a lot. So just wanted to put that out there and just give Scott a little love, because he deserves it, and he's working really hard to support us in the comments. So thank you. Okay, so what were your takeaways from yesterday's homework? What were your takeaways from what we've been thinking about so far? Remember day 1, we were talking about just what does it mean to be in a relationship with money. And then we started talking about how relationships show up in our lives, and what, you know, either fear or constriction or jealousy or whatever else can suffocate that energy and pull it down into a not so productive energy, right? Not so productive, where you can't use it in a way to move yourself forward. So I know there were a few people in the homework that had a little trouble discovering or saying or seeing in their own lives ways that fear has supported them. So a few of you that turned in homework where you talked about how fear has supported you, can you say in the chat really quick how fear has supported you in your own life? So those of us that are confused about how can fear support me? I don't understand how fear has supported me in my own life. Fear will usually support you in your own life by giving you a notice moment of, oh, I'm fearful of this. So that gives me an aha moment, like we were talking about yesterday, our yes moment, which is, ooh, that feels like shame, or ooh, that feels like fear. Okay, but it's giving me an aha moment where I show up like this, and now I can at least look at it. because if you didn't have fear in that moment, you wouldn't have anything that would pop you into or out of your shit, right? So you could go, oh, wait, this is where I feel fearful, and it gives you a kind of like a field for awareness, if that makes sense. So yes, so takeaways from yesterday's homework, as we talked about our relationship with fear and how it applies to money, and how it works for us or works against us. Thank you so much for your beautiful homework in the homework threads. It is so inspiring to go on and to see all of your letters to money and all of your letters to yourself and all of your journal writings, automatic writings about how fear either serves you or does not. It's really inspiring and really beautiful for us all to come together, connect with one another, and continue to be vulnerable, to show up really vulnerable. When you show up vulnerable, know that you are repairing not only your relationship with money, but you are repairing your relationship with the self. You are repairing your relationship with your parents. You are repairing your relationship with everyone around you without them having to even know you're doing it, and without you even having to know, maybe unconsciously or subconsciously, you are doing that and you don't even know it. So just know that when you are doing this work of discovery, that you are creating that safe attachment. Remember how we talked about safe attachment in day 2, all of our attachment patterns? So safe attachment pattern, what we're doing by this discovery process, even if it feels like crap or feels crappy in the moment, know that you are creating a safe attachment pattern for yourself as you work through this and repair your relationship with yourself, with money, and everything else in your life. And like I was saying about the crack in the brick, the second you repair one little thing in your relationship with, say, money, you're doing it all across the board with all of your relationships, okay? And relationships are the most important thing in the world because connection is the most important thing in the world, okay? So takeaways from homework, just put them below. Let's connect. Let's talk about it. There's a few notes I wrote down, so I'm just going to look through. So something that I also heard in the comments yesterday and in a few of the homework threads and stuff like that was, as soon as we start to commit to another way of being, so as soon as we start to connect, commit, and set intentions for these new ways of being that we want to or that we're committed to being in, what we're doing is we're telling the universe, okay, I don't feel like I'm here yet, but I'm committed to being here. I'm committed to ... And when you say I'm committed to, or it is my intention to, the universe will bring up everything that is blocking you from that intention for you to look at and remove. So it may feel like Scott was saying on day 2, like when he posted that beautiful thing about resistance coming up, and you may not want to come to day 3 because resistance has come up in day 2 and it's been really tough. Know that that's normal. And also know that as you kind of eke through that and you make the commitments and the intentions to heal and repair, all the stuff that has been holding you back from healing and repairing those things will come up to be looked at. Again, when it comes up to be looked at, don't focus so much on holding on to it. Focus on looking at it from a neutral view, from kind of a non-judgmental, a little step back a little bit and be able to say, okay, let's take a step back, be gentle with myself and say, this is how I've been showing up before, this is how I'm intending to show up now, and know that when you intend to show up that way, things may come up. For example, when I was really in the business of manifesting abundance, I would go on and on about all my manifestations. I want to manifest $5,000 by this day. This is what I'm willing to do it. These are the intentions I'm willing to set in my business in order to get this money by this day. And when I did that, everything in my relationship with money that was not serving me in order to get that money came up to be looked at. So for instance, I was saying my intention is to get $5,000 by this date. Everything in my relationship with money that was not serving me came up to look at me. So I would get random bills in the mail. Or someone would say, you owe me this money that I have forgotten about. So know that when you set the intention, things may come up that make you go, oh my God, I'm not supposed to do this work because it's just piling on more now. I thought when I started doing this work, it would just go away. Know that yes, you are releasing things, but things are going to come up to show you this is where you've been manifesting from and vibrating at for a long time. And it's kind of a test. It's like, how are you going to show up this time? So if you show up a certain way this time, then if you show up a different way when it happens again, so say you're manifesting all this money and then all this stuff comes up that's keeping you from having this money, and then you say, I see you, I understand what you're trying to do, so I'm going to say I love you and kiss you on the forehead and send you off on your way because I got this. And when you do this, then the bills and all the other things will, yes, it takes time and energy to figure out how to take care of them. It will all work out. It's fine. And know that that step is coming to meet you where you are so that you can say, nope, I'm up here now, so that it can go away, right? So it's going to take a little bit of time to get there. I've taken a lot of manifestation and abundance courses where they go on and on about write your intentions, do this, but they don't really say that emotionally and energetically there may be blocks that come up that you get to look at, process through, and then release in order to have that thing. So know that that's normal, because no one ever told me that, and I would try manifesting things and I would feel like, okay, all these manifestor gurus are telling me to focus on happy thoughts, so I would focus on good thoughts, and I would push away everything about like all the badness. And what they didn't tell me is, oh, that badness is going to come in. You get to look at that and release it in order to manifest in that good stuff. So that's a whole other course on its own. We'll talk about that later. But for now, just wanted to let you know so you are having a notice moment, and that so you know that it may not happen overnight, but at the same time, you can release some things, right? Regarding debt and healthy investments, I was talking about this to a few of the people in the group. If you don't see the inherent value in yourself, you won't be willing to invest in yourself, financially or emotionally. So I'm not just talking about, when I say invest, people think financial right away. I'm talking about emotionally. You cannot invest in yourself emotionally, or in a relationship with yourself, or in a relationship with someone else, or in a relationship with money or anything else, if you don't see the inherent value and worth in yourself. So that's another thing that we're doing in this program and in the 12-week master course after this, is finding the inherent value in ourselves so that we can repair our relationship with ourselves and with money and move forward with power and purpose, okay? So making sure, I just want you to know that when debt and healthy investments and all that stuff comes up, it's a lot to do with self-worth. So if it feels really messy, know that it's not just about, oh, I'm not able to invest emotionally or financially in myself because of all these things that happened in my childhood. Yes, but it's also about self-worth and value. And we'll go into that deeper in the master course, okay? So, number one at the top of the giving and receiving. Boop, boop, boop. So the top one says when you're, and I want you to write blocked, when you're blocked from the energy of giving and receiving. When you are blocked from the energy of giving and receiving. Okay, so we're talking about being okay with giving of ourselves, giving something without feeling like we're pulling it out of us or that we're pouring our hearts out. A lot of people that are givers are taking all of their own love and devotion to themselves and pouring it on other people because they have low self-worth. So it's very important that we understand what overgiving means, and giving from a place of selfishness a little bit. Sometimes we give so we can get back without knowing it, unconsciously or subconsciously. So when you're blocked from the energy of giving and receiving, number one is you have control issues around having money and keeping it. So write this down in the chat or write this down on the piece of paper. Number one is you have control issues around having money and keeping it. Now I'm just going to say my notes here. You don't have to write this down, but if you want, you can write it in the notes or in the chat. How this shows up in your life. How the energy of controlling, if you're blocked from giving and receiving, how it shows up in control issues around having money and keeping it is by obsessive budgeting. So like Scott was saying, instead of checking your checking account once a week or twice a week, you're going to be checking it once or twice a day. So obsessive budgeting, compulsively tracking your expenses. So it's important to look at your expenses and look at what you have in your bank account, but to be like tracking it obsessively and compulsively out of a fear state is not healthy, okay? Constantly looking at your bank account, like I said a second ago, okay? Constantly looking at your bank account. That is control issues around having money and keeping it, and what that is a blockage from giving and receiving, okay? The result of this is unnecessary stress and worry. The important word here is unnecessary, okay? It's very, like there's this one person I was learning from that told me once, life is simple, we make it hard. So don't make it any harder than it has to be, okay? And this results in unnecessary fear and worry, okay? So also remember that suffocating your money, like we talked about in day one, makes it run away from you. Okay, so if you suffocate your money by checking all the time and making sure, 3 cents, now it has 5 cents, now we have $100, now we have $200. If you're constantly doing that, you're suffocating your money, and money's like, yo man, back off. It's like if you had a boyfriend, husband, wife, kid that you're constantly texting. A, they're gonna think you don't trust me. B, they're gonna think, what the hell's wrong with you? And C, they're gonna run away faster than anyone has ever run away from you in your life. So the more that you suffocate it, the more it's gonna run away, or the more breath and air it's gonna take out of it. Remember, anxiety is excitement without breath. So you're sucking out all the excitement out of this person and causing anxiety, okay? Which is, when we're talking about anxious attachment pattern, not only do we get our anxious attachment patterns from our primary caregivers, but then we because we're in that state, it moves on to the next generation. Just like with your parents, it moved on to your generation, then it moves on to the next. So it's no one's fault. It's just that's the way that it's been put in your body, right? On day 5, tomorrow, we're going to talk about ancestral and generational trauma and how to have the power to know that you have the power to rid that in your lifetime. You can heal ancestral, generational trauma in your lifetime. We'll talk about that tomorrow, okay? So number two, you are apathetic about money. Number 2, you are apathetic about money. You'd rather give up and try to make the best of things as they are now instead of rectifying the situation. You'd rather give up, throw your hands up in the air, and try to make the best of things as they are now instead of either rectifying the situation or saying, you know what, F that. I'm going to show up powerful for myself. It does feel heavy. It does feel fearful, but I'm not going to get apathetic about my money because I am a powerful human being and I'm not going to sit back and just let life roll over me, okay? It's time to take control and take ownership of what I've created and what my intention and commitment is moving forward, okay? So number 2, you are apathetic about money. You'd rather give up and try to make the best of things as they are now instead of rectifying the situation. How this shows up in your life: boredom, isolation, stagnancy, victim mentality, which is like there's nothing I can do about it, so why do anything at all? Same shit, different day. Okay, how this shows up: boredom, stagnancy, victim mentality, there's nothing I can do about it, so why do anything? Same shit, different day. Okay, so this is the victim mentality of like, it doesn't matter, nothing ever matters, everything I do is shit, everything I do from now on will be shit, so it doesn't matter. It does matter, and you matter. I want you to write that down. It does matter, and you do matter, okay? You matter. You matter to your friends and family. You matter to your children. You matter to God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. You matter to just being on the planet. You wouldn't be here if you didn't matter, okay? You are here for a reason. So you matter, okay? Number 3, this is so important. Number 3, put a big ass star over this one because this one is so important. I bolded it and put it in red. Okay? So important, number 3. You try to, something's getting, okay. Oh, see, this is why I need to not get caught up in comments. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, number 3, most important. And this happens to a lot of people who are overgivers. You try to help and heal everyone besides yourself, which directly correlates to your inability to receive and keeps you staying broke. Write this down in the chat. Write this down on the piece of paper. Write it down on your forehead. You try to help and heal everyone besides yourself, which directly correlates to your inability to receive and keeps you staying broke. How this shows up in your life: lack of self-care, physical pain or disease in your body. People are afraid to try to support you because you won't let them. Receiving gifts makes you feel uncomfortable or like you owe the giver something in return. Okay? These are for our nurses out there, our mommies out there, our overgivers, our people who don't feel like they have inherent worth, so they do everything they can to let other people know they're worthy so that other people feel better and possibly give them something in return, okay? You try to help and heal everyone besides yourself, which directly correlates to your inability to receive and keeps you staying broke. How this shows up in your life: lack of self-care. Now, on Monday, I'm going to continue these videos, and on Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, I will be doing a whole video about self-care and how to find safety in self-care, what self-care means, and how to protect yourself from disease, physical disease, and how to support yourself moving forward. I, as some of you know, was a drug and alcohol addict for 17 years. Okay, I've been sober for almost 6 years. And during this time, I've done so much healing and releasing of generational, ancestral, my own trauma. And it gets better. And I have healed myself from so much physical pain and disease, I cannot even tell you. I was 40 pounds heavier. I could barely walk because my ankles, I could not support myself on my ankles. And many, many more things. So you have the power to heal yourself of any disease, any pain, and anything in this list that I was talking about. So on Monday at 6 p.m., I will come on to talk about self-care. Okay, so people are afraid to try to support you because you won't let them. Receiving gifts makes you feel uncomfortable or like you owe the giver something in return. I know there's a lot to talk about with this, but I want to make sure I stay in time, so I'm going to move forward. Also, I think after talking about how we are blocked from the energy of giving and receiving, I'd like to talk about how we are open to the energy of giving and receiving. Okay? When you're open to the energy of giving and receiving. Very important, and this is why I put it second, because then we can go, let's talk about how we're open to giving and receiving instead of blocked. That feels better. Okay? Not saying I want us to be apathetic and ignore it, but it's a lot to take in, and it's going to take time to have the discovery in yourself and go, oh crap. And there's only so much I can say to you right now that's gonna process. So just want to give you that first, and then we will go over that more and more. Again, tomorrow we're talking about ancestral and generational trauma and how to rid that of ourselves and take the next step into deep diving into that, okay? So when you're open to the energy of giving and receiving, number one, you're able to enjoy money when it's there and be content when it is not. This is so important, okay? Because I used to be in this state where when money was there, it's fine. Everything's great. But the moment that it's not, all of a sudden, deep hole of despair, everything's effed, I'm going to die, I can't live, I can't pay rent, I'm going to die, I'm going to be a bag lady, whatever, okay? So when you have a safe attachment and you're open to the energy of giving and receiving, you're able to enjoy money when it's there and be content when it is not. This results in money being able to flow to you. The key here is, and away from you, okay? This results in money being able to flow to you and away from you with ease, okay? Remember, money, we support its personal freedom, like we talked about in day one. The ways to have a good relationship with money is to say, I support and respect your need for personal freedom. So when you need to go, I understand, and when you come in, I understand. Let's work together, right? Like a teeter-totter. The money, remember, money is currency, currency is energy. It's all energy. So the more that we remove the blocks of our giving and receiving blocks and our blocks of fear and guilt and shame, then the money goes, oh, that feels good. Okay, and she's talking to me. She's working with me. Now we can work together. And it can flow in and out with a contented sense of ease, right? Okay? How this shows up in your life. Less stress and worry, more joy, and this is a big one. The ability to give and receive gifts without guilt, okay? The ability to give and receive gifts without guilt. And I don't just mean monetary gifts. I mean, I found this flower outside and it just reminded me of you because it's bright and shiny and you are bright and shiny and everything you've brought into my life is amazing. The thing that makes people connect the most is acknowledgement. You may have noticed this in my comments to you, is that even if people are showing up in pain and mess, I don't say, this is how you can get better. I say, I acknowledge your pain. I acknowledge your mess. And I was going to say the F word, but I don't want to get too effity up in here. But I support and see your pain. I witness your pain and I acknowledge it. And I acknowledge you for showing up in this way so vulnerably. It's beautiful. Okay? So acknowledgement is very important. But you are open to give and receive gifts without guilt, right? And so that means not just monetary gifts, but just, I saw this and thought of you and I love you, okay? And also receive gifts. So you can receive gifts without feeling like, oh my God, now I have to get that person something. Oh my God. Just say thank you. Because when you don't say thank you and when you feel bad, when you say, oh, I don't deserve this, you are taking that person's joy away. They are in a state of joy to give you something. And when you say thank you, this means the world to me, then they feel like, good. It feels so good to give. Have you ever given something to someone and they're just like, oh no, it's okay. I don't deserve this. Like, don't take it back. No. Doesn't it make you feel like crap? Like, I wish they just received the thing. I really care. Like, I really, really took time to think about them with this and they're kind of like shutting me off. So know that when you receive something from someone, you are loving them and acknowledging them because you're saying, wow, thank you for this gift. This just means so much to me. Okay. So another thing is just openness. So how this shows up in your life and enjoying money when it's there and being content when it isn't is openness, gratitude, and something that my friend Stacy Boston says, who is amazing. And I love this statement, unshakable okayness. Okay. When we're in this state of giving and receiving with love and openness, we are in a state of unshakable okayness. We're okay and we are unshakable in that okayness. And the okayness means, however, contentment, right? Being content, okay? Number 2, you have more time to spend with family because you won't be consumed with work. When you're open to the energy of giving and receiving and moving and not having to feel like, oh, I need to be at work all the time because I need to make money in order to take vacations. When you're open and you just say, you know what, I may not have a lot of money in the bank account right now, but I have 5 paid days off at work, and I get to take those days off to be with my family. And you can just sit in the openness of, doesn't matter how much money I have, I get to take this, because what's important is connection, right? So you have more time to spend with family because you won't be consumed with work when you are open with the energy of giving and receiving. And instead of saying how this shows up in your life, what I'm going to say is by this time you will. So as you go through this discovery process, and as we go through the deeper dive of discovery in the 12-week master course, so by this time, you'll have a support system in your life that is available to be there for you. So right now you may have a support system in your life that's not available to be there for you because you've been pushing them away. But when you're open to the energy of giving and receiving, you will be in a space where you have voiced your needs in such a way that your friends and family cannot wait to fulfill your needs so that you can enjoy multiple vacations a year without stress and worry, okay? So number 2 is you have more time to spend with family because you won't be consumed with work because you're just in a state of, I deserve a vacation, right? So by this time, you'll have a support system in your life because you'll have been doing work in this course and in the 12-week course that will support your life so you'll have a support system in your life that is available to be there for you because at this point you will have voiced your needs in such a way that they cannot wait to fulfill those needs so that you can enjoy multiple vacations a year without stress or worry. So as we go through this process, not only are we showing up for ourselves by saying these are my intentions and my commitments, but also a lot of other relationships that we're having trouble with right now are coming up in the homework and in the comments and all the stuff you guys have beautifully, so vulnerably shared, that this process is going to help you to not only take ownership of your own life, but to step up to those people and say, I am terrified of confronting you or to talking to you about this, but I need your support. And I know that now after taking Erin's course that I have, and it's okay to stutter, that I now have healthy needs that I need to have met. And I feel like sometimes I don't get that met in this relationship. And I'd like to talk to you about that. How do you feel about that? And if somebody really, really loves you, they're going to rise up to meet you and they're going to say, yes. Let's work together. What are these needs that you have that let's work together? And if they don't have the capacity to do that, they don't, but they're not supposed to be in your lives, okay? So they will. So by this time, you'll have a support system in your life that is available to be there for you because you've voiced your needs in such a way that they cannot wait to fulfill those needs so that you can do what you want to do in your life and have more time to enjoy those things, okay? So when you are open to ask for support, it will come in like nothing you can believe because a lot of people say, no one supports me, but they don't ask, okay? It's a really simple thing. Just ask, okay? Number 3, you are able to create the freedom in your life that will allow you to quit your job or retire early, okay? You are able to create the freedom in your life that will allow you to quit your job or retire early. Número 3. Right there. I'm realizing with all the stuff I wrote down that's probably not a big enough space for notes, but whatever. You guys have notebooks by this time. It's day 4. You guys, I trust that you have it figured out. I trust that you have it figured out. Okay? Number 3, you are able to create the freedom in your life that will allow you to quit your job or retire early. How amazing does that sound? Woo! And like one of my coaches used to say, she would say, it's not quitting your job, you're firing your boss. Who wants to fire their boss? I already did it. And that's another thing. That's another video I'm going to do when I talk about, I'm going to talk about my story. I forget which day it is. I think it's going to be Monday. One of the days I'm going to talk about my story and how I got here. And I was able to fire my boss. And I'll tell you how I did it. So you are able to create the freedom in your life that will allow you to quit your job or retire early. So doing all of these things and taking the deeper dive as we go into the 12-week program, you will be able to have the freedom to, if not quit your job or retire early, to take steps toward that, okay? And to take steps towards what do I need to do to healthily set myself up to not only have my coworkers and whatever support my needs in making these moves, doing whatever, but in making a plan. So if you have a soul-sucking job or if you have something that does not serve you anymore or you have 2 businesses or 3 businesses and you want to focus solely on one, know that you can do that. It's really about taking those, doing all the work we've been doing emotionally, and that may take some time. It's okay if you think, well, it's going to take me 3 years to do that. Okay, I'll probably pull you back a little bit and say, can we try 1 year? 6 months? Whenever you set a goal for yourself and you say, oh, I'm going to do it in a year. By the time a year is over, I'm telling you, if you don't do it within 3 months, it's not going to happen. So that's not to say where you are right now. Just say you're going to quit your job in 3 months and it'll happen. No, I'm not saying that. I don't want to be crazy up in here. But just letting you know that you have the power, you have the capacity to quit your job early, quit your job or retire early as you are becoming more and more unblocked and you're able to be in the energy of giving and receiving, right? Because you're asking for your needs to be met. People are coming up to you. They're like, man, now that I understand what's going on in your head and your brain and I understand now that you're starting to talk to me about what's going on with you, I can support you now. Awesome. And like I said, if people don't have the capacity to support you, then you can detach with them with love or whatever else happens, with that relationship. But you can at least have an open dialogue about it, okay? This is really important. You don't have to write all this down, but this goes with number 3. Again, number 3 is you are able to create the freedom in your life that will allow you to quit your job or retire early, okay? By this time, so by the time that you are in a space where you feel like you can create more freedom in your life to at least start talking about how to get out of your job or retire early, by this time, you will have removed all of your unhealthy fear, which allows you to treat yourself without guilt. Okay? By this time, you will have removed all of your unhealthy fear, which allows you to treat yourself without guilt. Remember, I don't know if any of you guys have watched Parks and Rec, treat yourself. Okay? It's so important to treat yourself. And it doesn't have to be some big trip to Disneyland or something. It could just be like we were talking about yesterday about having an aha moment and celebrating. So say, again, you're in fear. You're like, oh my God, I'm in fear. I'm all in a shame spiral right now. Wait, Erin said when I'm in a shame spiral to find a way to celebrate the shame spiral. Okay. So I'm in a shame spiral. Yes moment. It's me. It's actually shame coming up to meet me in order to show me what I'm here to do or what I'm here to. Okay, I see you, shame. I love you. I'm going to love you like I would my niece or my nephew that comes up to me crying. Okay, I got that. Now I'm going to release you and I'm going to go have some ice cream because I'm celebrating that I had that aha moment. Yes. Okay. Or dance around your living room or like whatever I was talking about yesterday about releasing your fear and how to do that in your body. Okay. So by this time you will have removed all your unhealthy fear, which allows you to treat yourself without guilt. This includes investing in yourself and your future. Again, this means monetarily or emotionally or with relationships. So you will invest more in your relationships, which will have the people in your relationships invest more in you because they see you showing up, okay, in your true light. So when you invest in yourself or treat yourself without guilt, this includes investing in yourself and your future and thus the future of your children. Okay, if those of us who don't have children, when you invest in yourself, not only are you investing in all the generations around you, you're investing in anyone that comes after you. And that doesn't have to be just your children. As you know, in this lifetime, our blood family, sometimes our blood family, we never see them, and we create our soul family that's with us in this lifetime, right? That soul family is just as important as our family, and we are working through trauma with them as well, just as we are with our blood family. So know that, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow with the generational and ancestral trauma that comes through with millennia, like, for instance, the depression. We still have trauma from the depression housed in our bodies, and so that shows up in fear and everything else. Again, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But remember, when we invest in ourselves and our future, not just financially, but emotionally, we are also investing in the future of our children. And know that the way that you invest in yourself and show up for yourself is a blueprint. Your children know how to take care of themselves by looking at how you take care of yourself. So the only way that your children or your friends or family are going to know how to take care of themselves is by watching you set up the blueprint for how you take care of yourself. So as you start doing this course and the work in this course, and you show up to your family this way and you say, okay, Erin gave me this idea to do this. How do you feel about this? Do you want to do it together? Awesome. So they're in it with you, right? And when you're there together, your children go, wow, mom or dad are showing up like, and then they will do the same things. I have a friend who, she works on herself all the time, and she does meditation, and she's at home and she does binaural beats, which are like beats to like calm down your energy. She does not push it on her children. She doesn't say, okay, kids, let's all come together and meditate, which is nice. I'm not shaming that or saying it's bad, but I'm saying that to set up the example that she will just do it by herself in her room. She has a meditation room. And one day she woke up and she saw her child, her baby girl that was like 3 years old, with headphones on, laying on the couch like this, with her hands over her heart. And she was like, what are you doing? And she's like, and she said something so cute. I forget what the exact words are. I don't know if Micah's in this chat, Micah Shoemaker, but she said something like, I'm taking a second to meditate. And she's this tiny little 3-year-old girl, right? And the mom hadn't told her, like, you need to do this with me or anything. She just showed up in a way that was in her body, relaxing, taking a break when she needed to take a break. And the child, instead of saying, Mommy, I need you more, said, oh. And there was a blueprint for her to be able to say, now I know how to take care of myself. So that's how you break general and ancestral trauma. So that's how you start to show up in your own. Remember how I said the takeaway for yesterday, if you looked at the takeaway from yesterday's thing, was that we are source. And how we show up, everyone around us goes, ooh, I get to show up that way too. So when we shift, even because we're all energy, when we shift and we go into a room with that different energy, everyone around us will shift as well without even knowing it, okay? Unconsciously, right? Okay, so I'm going to keep going with this paragraph here. So by the time you will have removed all of your unhealthy fear, which allows you to treat yourself without guilt, this includes investing in yourself and your future, and thus the future of your children, because now you finally understand that you matter. Take a breath after that. And your purpose on this planet matters. And stepping into your greatness is not optional, it's mandatory. Okay, I want you to write that down right now and put it in the chat. Stepping into your greatness isn't optional, it's mandatory. Of course, say me. Stepping into my greatness isn't optional, it's mandatory. You guys, I cannot stress this enough. It's so important to this world for you to stand in your greatness. It's so important for you to keep moving forward and to know how beautiful and amazing you are and how much you matter to yourself, to your children, to everyone around you, to the world, to the energy that we're all connected to, okay? Stepping into my greatness is not optional, it's mandatory. It's so important. The reason we're here is to shine. It's to be seen. It's to be witnessed. It's to be loved. It's to connect. And if we don't do that, we are stealing from ourselves and we are stealing from everyone that loves us. This greatly blocks the energy of giving and receiving, which is what we're here to do. We are here to support one another and ourselves on this journey. And the way to best do that is to show up on our greatness and shine. Okay? Oh, I love everyone saying that in the chat. Oh my God, I love you guys so much. Wow. You guys are so amazing. Yeah, I like the word Scott chose. He said we teach ourselves and support others in regulating themselves. So the word regulation is really good because it's kind of scientific, but it also, like when we're meditating or when we take a break, say we're in a fear spiral or whatever, and we start dancing instead, or we go and we do the opposite of what we think we should do. Sometimes when we're in a fear spiral, we go, I need to keep moving and move forward and try to make money by going out and getting a job this very instant. But really what we need to do is go in our room and sit and meditate. When we do that, we're regulating ourselves. And as we regulate ourselves, again, we show up as source and we regulate the energy for everyone else, okay? All right. It is time now to announce the winners of the scholarship.